The Allied powers were the countries that opposed the Central Powers in the First World War. The members of the original Entente Alliance of 1907 were the French Republic, the British Empire and the Russian Empire. Italy ended its alliance with the Central Powers, arguing that Germany and Austria-Hungary started the war and that the alliance was only defensive in nature. It entered the war on the side of the Entente in 1915. Japan was another important member. Belgium, Serbia, Greece, Montenegro, and Romania were affiliated members of the Entente. The 1920 Treaty of Sevres defines the principal Allied powers as the British Empire, French Republic, Italy and Japan. The Allied powers comprised, together with the principal Allied powers, Armenia, Belgium, Greece, Hejaz, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Serb-Croat Slovene state and Czechoslovakia. The U.S. declaration of war on Germany in April 1917 was on the grounds that Germany had violated its neutrality by attacking international shipping and the Zimmermann telegram sent to Mexico. It declared war on Austria-Hungary in December 1917. The U.S. entered the war as an associated power, rather than as a formal ally of France and the United Kingdom, in order to avoid foreign entanglements. Although the Ottoman Empire in Bulgaria severed relations with the United States, neither declared war. The dominions and crown colonies of the British Empire made great contributions to the Allied war effort, but did not have independent foreign policies in World War I, with the British War Cabinet exercising operational control of British Empire forces. The Dominion governments did control recruiting, and removed personnel from frontline duties as they saw fit. From early 1917, the War Cabinet was superseded by the Imperial War Cabinet, which had Dominion representation. The Australian Corps and Canadian Corps were placed under the command of Australian and Canadian Lieutenant Generals John Monash and Arthur Currie, respectively, who reported in turn to British generals. In April 1918, operational control of all Entente forces on the Western Front passed to the new Supreme Commander, Ferdinand Foch of France. History. The original alliance opposed to the Central Powers was the Triple Entente, which was formed by three great European powers: British Empire, French Republic, Russian Empire. The war began with the Austrian invasion of Serbia on 28 July 1914, in response to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Austrian Empire followed with an attack on the Serbian ally Montenegro on 8 August. On the Western Front, the two neutral states of Belgium and Luxembourg were immediately occupied by German troops as part of the German Schlieffen Plan. Of the two low countries involved in the war, Luxembourg chose to capitulate, and was viewed as a collaborationist state by the Entente powers. Luxembourg never became part of the Allies, and only narrowly avoided Belgium's efforts of annexation. At the conclusion of hostilities in 1919, on 23 August, Japan joined the Entente, which then counted 7 members. The entrance of the British Empire brought Nepal into the war. On 23 May 1915, Italy entered the war on the Entente side and declared war on Austria. Previously, Italy had been a member of the Triple Alliance but had remained neutral since the beginning of the conflict. In 1916, Montenegro capitulated and left the Entente, and two nations joined, Portugal and Romania. On 6 April 1917, the United States entered the war. Liberia, Siam and Greece also became allies. After the October Revolution, Russia left the alliance and ended formal involvement in the war. by the signing of the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk in November, effectively creating a separate peace with the Central Powers. This was followed by Romanian cessation of hostilities. However, the Balkan state declared war on Central Powers again on 10 November 1918. The Russian withdrawal allowed for the final structure of the alliance, which was based on 5 great powers: French Republic, British Empire, United States, Italy, Japan. Following the Versailles Conference, Britain, France, Italy and Japan became the permanent members of the League of Nations Council. The United States, meant to be the 5th permanent member, left because the U.S. Senate voted on 19 March 1920 against the ratification of the Treaty of Versailles, thus preventing American participation in the League. Major affiliated states: Combatants, United Kingdom War Justifications. In response to Germany's invasion of neutral Belgium, the United Kingdom declared war on Germany on 4 August 1914. The British Empire held several semi-autonomous dominions that were automatically brought into the war effort as a result of the British declaration of war, including Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Newfoundland, and South Africa. Colonies and dependencies in Europe: Gibraltar, Cyprus and Malta were British dependencies in Europe. In Africa, the UK held several colonies, protectorates, and semi-autonomous dependencies at the time of World War I. In Eastern Africa, the East Africa Protectorate, Nyasaland, both northern and southern Rhodesia, the Uganda Protectorate, were involved in conflict with German forces in German East Africa. In Western Africa, the colonies of Gold Coast and Nigeria were involved in military actions against German forces from Togoland and Cameroon. In southwestern Africa, the semi-autonomous Dominion of South Africa was involved in military actions against German forces in German Southwest Africa. In North America, Canada and Newfoundland were 2 autonomous dominions during the war that made major military contributions to the British war effort. Other British dependent territories in the Americas included British Honduras, the Falkland Islands, British Guiana, and Jamaica. In Asia, the UK held large possessions in Asia, including the Indian Empire, which was an assortment of British imperial authorities in the territory now defined as India, Bangladesh, Burma, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Other British territories at the time included British Malaya, referring to several Malay states under British control as a result of the Straits Settlements, North Borneo, and Hong Kong. In Oceania, Australia and New Zealand were 2 autonomous dominions of the UK. In Oceania during the war, Australia had become an independent nation-state in 1901. Having strong cultural ties with the United Kingdom, the nations declared war on Germany on 4 August 1914. Russia, in response to Austria-Hungary's invasion of Serbia in 1914, Russian government officials denounced the Austro-Hungarian invasion as an ignoble war on a weak country. Russian government official Nikolai N. Shebeko stated, "The attack on Serbia by a powerful empire such as Austria, supposedly in order to defend its existence, cannot be understood by anyone in my country. It has been considered simply as a means of delivering a death blow to Serbia." Russia held close diplomatic relations with Serbia, and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Sazonov suspected the events were a conspiracy between Austria-Hungary and Germany to expel Russian influence in the Balkans. On 30 July 1914, Russia enacted a general mobilization. The day after general mobilization was enacted, Austria-Hungary's ally Germany declared war on Russia prior to expected Russian intervention against Austria-Hungary. Following a raid by Ottoman warships on the Russian port of Odessa, Russia declared war on the Ottoman Empire in November 1914. France. After Germany declared war on Russia, France, with its alliance with Russia, prepared a general mobilization in expectation of war. On the 3rd of August 1914, Germany declared war on France. Japan declared war on Germany after it did not accept an ultimatum sent by Japan to Germany, demanding that Germany extinguish its title to the Kirochabe concession and restore that territory to China. The Japanese government appealed to the Japanese public that Japan was not merely entering a European war on behalf of European powers, but that Japan was fighting on behalf of Asians against a belligerent European power, Germany, that Japan identified as the source of evil in the Far East. Thus, as a result of this, Japan was following through with the Anglo-Japanese alliance. Italy had been a member of the Triple Alliance alongside Germany and Austria-Hungary since the 1880s. However, the Triple Alliance stipulated that all parties must be consulted in the event of one country engaging in war, and Italy was not informed of this. As such, Italy claimed that it was not obligated to join the war effort. Italy's relations with Germany and Austria-Hungary, in contrast to the Allies, were additionally affected by the fact that in 1913, Britain supplied Italy with 90% of its annual imports of coal. The war effort of the Central Powers meant that Germany and Austria-Hungary were using the coal supplies for the war, and little was available to be exported to Italy. Italy initially attempted to pursue neutrality from 1914 to 1915. After diplomatic negotiations, Britain and France convinced Italy to join the war effort with promises that Italy would gain favorable territorial concessions from the Central Powers, including Italian-populated territories of Austria-Hungary. Italy ordered mobilization on the 22nd of May 1915 and issued an ultimatum to Austria-Hungary, and then declared war on Austria-Hungary, though it did not declare war on Germany. Serbia was invaded by Austria-Hungary after Austria-Hungary placed a stringent ultimatum to the Serbian government demanding full compliance to an Austro-Hungarian investigation of complicity by the Serbian government in the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Serbia agreed to most of Austria-Hungary's demands, but because it did not fully comply, Austria-Hungary invaded. Serbia had the diplomatic support of Russia, and both Serbia and Russia resented Austria-Hungary's absorption of Bosnia and Herzegovina that held a substantial Serb population. Serbia had expanded in size through its actions in the Balkan Wars of 1912–1913 when the Ottoman Empire's control in the Balkans collapsed. During the war, Serbia justified the war as being the result of Austro-Hungarian imperialism towards Serbs and South Slavs. Serbia cooperated with Yugoslavists, including the Yugoslav Committee, who sought Pan-South Slav unification, particularly through liberating South Slavs from Austria-Hungary. In the Corfu Declaration in 1917, the Serbian government officially declared its intention to form a state of Yugoslavia. The first two Allied victories in the war were won by the Serbian army on the mountains of Cer and Kolubara in western Serbia. The Austro-Hungarian army was expelled from the country, suffering heavy losses. Serbia suffered great losses during the war. Almost 50% of all men and around 30% of its entire population were killed. Romania, when the Entente powers promised Romania Transylvania and Banat, large Austro-Hungarian territories with Romanian majority, in exchange for Romania's declaring war on the Central Powers. The Romanian government renounced its neutrality and joined the Allies on the 27th of August 1916. The Treaty approved and signed by the main Allied countries, also stipulated equal status for Romania at the coming peace conference. However, this clause of the treaty was eventually ignored by the main Entente powers. The Romanian offensive was initially successful against the Austro-Hungarian troops in Transylvania, but a counterattack by the combined forces of the Central Powers drove them back. As a result of the Battle of Bucharest, the Central Powers occupied Bucharest on 6 December 1916. Fighting in Moldova continued in 1917, resulting in a costly stalemate for the Central Powers. Russian withdrawal from the war in late 1917 as a result of the October Revolution meant that Romania was forced to sign a peace treaty with the Central Powers on 7 May 1918. However, the treaty was renounced in October 1918 by the Alexandru Margoloman government, and Romania nominally re-entered the war on 10 November 1918. The next day, the Treaty of Bucharest was nullified by the terms of the Armistice of Compiègne. Total Romanian deaths from 1914 to 1918, military and civilian, within contemporary borders, were estimated at 748,000. Other affiliated state combatants. Belgium had declared its neutrality when the war began, but Germany disregarded Belgium's neutrality and invaded the country in order to launch an offensive against the French capital of Paris. As a result, Belgium became a member of the Allies. Brazil entered the war in 1917 after the United States intervened on the basis of Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare, sinking its merchant ships, which Brazil also cited as a reason to enter the war fighting against Germany and the Central Powers. Montenegro had very close cultural and political connections with Serbia and had cooperated with Serbia in the Balkan Wars of 1912–1913. Montenegro joined the war against Austria-Hungary. Nejd and Hassa. The Emirate of Nejd and Hassa agreed to enter the war as an ally of Britain in the Treaty of Daran on December 26, 1915. Itriad Emirate of Asia. The Itriad Emirate of Asia participated in the Arab Revolt. Its Emir Muhammad ibn Ali al-Idrisi signed an agreement with the British and joined the Allies in May 1915. Major co-belligerent state combatants. United States. The United States declared war on Germany in 1917 on the grounds that Germany violated U.S. neutrality by attacking international shipping with its unrestricted submarine warfare campaign. The remotely connected Zimmermann telegram of the same period, within which the Germans promised to help Mexico regain some of its territory lost to the U.S. nearly 8 decades before, was also a contributing factor. The U.S. entered the war as an associated power, rather than a formal ally of France and the United Kingdom, in order to avoid foreign entanglements. Quote, although the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria severed relations with the United States, neither declared war. Non-state combatants. 3 non-state combatants, which voluntarily fought with the Allies and seceded from the constituent states of the Central Powers at the end of the war, were allowed to participate as winning nations to the peace treaties. Armenian irregulars and volunteers, seceded from Soviet Russia in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution and fought against Ottoman Empire. Polish legions. Czechoslovak legions, armed by France, Italy and Russia,